مساء الخير. اللي عارف الترنيمة يرنم معنا. في ظل حمايتك نلتجئ يا مريم، لا تردي طلبتنا عندما ندعوك. في عندما ندعوك يا بحر العطايا في الدنيا جرى، يا فخر البرايا يا خير الورى، يا بحر العطايا في الدنيا جرى، في ظل حمايتك نلتجئ يا مريم، لا ترد طلبتنا عندما ندعوك. في ظل حمايتك نلتجئ يا لا تردي طلبتنا عندما ندعوك. يا باب السماء يا أم الفداء، يا عين الرجاء يا نور الهدى، يا باب السماء يا أم الفداء، يا عين الرجاء يا نور الهدى. في ظل حمايتك نلتجئ يا مريم، لا تردي طلبتنا عندما ندعوك. في ظل حمايتك نلتجئ يا مريم، لا تردي طلبتنا عندما ندعوك. اشفعي في شعبك صلي كل حين، بروح البنين اشفعي في شعبي صلي كل حين، يطلبون ابني بروح البنين. بظل حمايتك نلتجئ يا مريم، لا تردي طلبتنا عندما ندعوك. في ظل حمايتك نلتجئ يا مريم، لا تردي طلبتنا عندما ندعوك. ارحمي عبيدا باتوا مخلصين، يبغون المزيد منك كل حين. ارحمي عبيدا باتوا مخلصين، يبغون المزيد منك كل حين. في
For just $67, you can generate as many videos as you want and never have to worry about showing your face on camera or using
Thank you all for coming. We are very honored and blessed to have Carol. Carol's obviously coming to us from a psychological point of view. You know, the entire month of August is dedicated to this. You know, the best practices online and what we can do with our kids and how we monitor our kids. So the first week, obviously, Dr. Magdi gave us some insights on the impacts on our health and whatnot. But today, Carol's giving us the psychological impacts. So welcome, Carol, and thank you for your preparation and your effort today.
Thank you. Hello? Hello? Everyone can hear me? Beautiful. Name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. One God, amen. I don't want anybody to feel pressured. I'm not here to tell anybody that we're not doing a good job. I know parenting is really hard, and it's even harder in the current climate that we're in. Sorry, guys, I'll be looking this way because I am blind, so I can't see on the phone. So who's raising your child? And please make it a discussion. Simple question. Us? Very good, very good. So the question I want to ask, are we raising our children or are we giving technology to raise our children? And we will navigate this together, guys, this discussion. So our screen is always there. And as all of us know, in the current climate that we're in, time is a very expensive currency. Most of us don't have time. No matter what we do, there's just never enough time to fit everything in. So this makes it really, really tempting because we have, you know, the screen to calm the child down, give them some time, give me some time to do some things, distract them, occupy them, so many things. And the question here is not how much, like how many hours is my child allowed? It's what is screen replacing? And please shout out, tell me, like, what do we think screen is actually replacing? Is it replacing anything?
They no longer, we don't see kids playing outside.
Yeah.
Most of the time they spend time inside, you know, at home with technology, with screens. Even when they're playing together, they're playing on screens.
That's true.
So no physical activities for them. And there's, pretty much no connection.
You've touched on some really good points there. Definitely. Anything else screen is replacing?
It's going to be replacing their family time together. Instead of spending the time with the family, the parents and the siblings, it will be just on their screens as well.
That's right. Very good. Anything else from this side?
I feel it's replacing memories. When they grow up, they have blank memory, nothing to remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the human contact.
Definitely. That connection there. Very good. Okay. You've actually taken me through my next slide, which is, you know, childhood then versus childhood now. What does a traditional childhood look like compared to modern childhood that we're navigating at the moment? So a lot of it is, you know, we had boredom growing up, and that is really good. We had unstructured play. We didn't know what to do. We came up with something. We had, you know, exploring outdoors, picking up leaves, you know, sticks, bonfires, whatever it might be. We had the face-to-face friendships where we're able to learn so many skills through those friendships. We had waiting, problem solving, we had imagination, we just knew how to entertain ourselves. At the moment, we rely heavily on, constant stimulation, instant entertainment. We're not really giving ourselves the opportunity to feel uncomfortable. The moment there is any, uncomfortable feeling, child's handed the phone, or there's any inconvenience, child's handed the phone or an iPad or a device to quickly settle the situation. But that child's actually missing out on learning to be uncomfortable, going beyond the uncomfortable of then, having our brain go into, imaginative play or into, creating something that entertains them. So our developing brain, I don't know if you guys can see well, these are skills that make us resilient as adults. So, being patient, we can emotionally regulate. All these are practiced through those times where we're not on a device. So obviously impulse control, delayed gratification, and these apps that we use are intentionally built by behavioral psychologists and engineers to do exactly that. So it's very, very difficult. And as we go along, you'll see it's really, really difficult for a child to stop. Sometimes it's even difficult for us as adults. This is what I was referring to before. So the boredom bypass. So screen path, obviously, I feel bored. I'm handed a screen. The discomfort completely goes. It resolves. It later grows, so I'm even more bored later. But in the instant, it goes. I have some sort of stimulus that is keeping me going at the moment. If I'm not given a device, I have room to grow. So there's my imagination. I can create things. I can, look at that creative side of my brain. What can I create in that time? And if I'm playing, say I'm playing with a sibling, I'm playing with a parent, I'm playing with a friend, then I have so much to learn. There's problem solving, there is conflict resolution, there is communication, there is so much that I can learn during that time. Persistence and creativity. So I'm playing, I'm persistent, my brain is actually developing really, really nicely, really well. So why are devices so hard to put down? And give me your personal experiences. We all actually...
And to they're very addictive. They are.
They are.
You can
They are
spend easily
designed.
an hour when you're extremely tired and you really want to do something else, but it's just entertaining. Yeah.
They're very, very entertaining, some downtime. And you're always constantly looking at what's next.
Yes.
What are you going to watch next?
And they pick the stuff that you like for you.
Exactly.
So they know what you like. And they
Exactly.
just ongoing.
Exactly.
Never
exactly.
stop.
This is absolutely spot on. So they are designed to have that engagement from us. And they learn our algorithm. So if I'm watching something, they know this is what I like, so this is what will pop up next. Makes it, imagine you're a child. Like, you're an adult right now, and we struggle. Imagine how much more difficult is it for a child. And we'll hear definitely more from the IT experts in terms of, how difficult is it, to break these cycles. But basically, it's a trigger. You check it, variable reward. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not, which is actually even more addictive. And then it's repeat. So it's very, very difficult for a child to actually navigate through that. And the whole purpose of this is guiding their heart. So we're looking at all of this and how can we actually put a buffer and a protection. It's not to say that, any time that you have technology is bad or that we're parenting in a bad way, but it's about making sure that we're protecting them, we're exposing them to age-appropriate material, we're giving it with, certain limitations around what that looks like, and it's very much a calculated move rather than just here it is because I need to buy some time. This is very common, even in the toddler stages. It's very, very common. Technology is emotional regulation. I'm short on time, my child's upset or bored or lonely, I hand them the device, problem solved. there is no skill. So there is a skill gap. And you'll notice, like I see this quite a lot in practice, where a child can come in and they're not actually at an age appropriate skill level. And sometimes it's not due to a particular disability or a diagnosis or anything. It's a skill gap that we need to teach. And if we were to not allow them to have devices from the get-go, it's so much easier, because then they have those experiences where they're able to, rather than I'm trying to withdraw it later on in life. So it says, what skill doesn't get practiced when the screen solves the feeling? And this is very difficult, because then frustration, coping, waiting, patience, loneliness, and it depends. This carries us through all the way to adulthood. So the toddler that you look at today, whatever hours, minutes that they're missing will carry through. They have to learn that skill later on. So we're going to have to play catch up later on. And that doesn't mean they must never see technology. No, but it has to be agreed. It's not that my child's crying or screaming and that I'm handing it over. No, it's, for example, we've done this and now we're going to have some, device time for whatever they want to do, but it's very much planned. Okay, the critical distinction. There is a big difference between building emotional capacity or the bypassing. We're bypassing it altogether. So helping a child regulate, so for example, sitting with them, naming the feeling, writing it out together. And young children actually need eye contact. They need physical touch. They need so much. They're very, very needy. And quite often they will ask for it. If they're verbal and they're able to let you know, like they're at an age where they can actually speak, they will ask for it. A phone cannot give them that. An iPad or tablet cannot give them that. And a child who's missing that will constantly be like, I want a cuddle, or come and sit with me, or come and watch with me. Like if we're watching TV, come and watch with me. They want that social connection. So it's important to pick up on those cues. I know our life is really, really busy. Every single person here, I'm sure, is very, very busy. And helping a child avoid, so handing them a device, quickly makes those feelings disappear. Okay, this is the next stage. So anybody here remembers going through this stage of who am I? Do people like me? Am I good enough? Do we remember? Do we remember any of this? Do we ask ourselves today, maybe, this question? Do we get lost sometimes and go, what is my purpose here? Our children will navigate this, and this is a very, very critical stage. And unfortunately, social media makes it extremely difficult because they get answers in numbers. How many likes? How many followers? How many people liked my photo? How many people liked my post? And quite often we'll see in the adolescent stage, if my child posts something and it doesn't get the number they wanted, they'll quite often delete it. So if I've posted a photo and I didn't get enough likes, I will delete the photo. But what does that actually tell me as a person? Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not pretty enough. Am I good enough? Who am I? And then my sense of identity is very fragile because it's actually in the building stage. So it's actually very, very fragile for me to be relying on social media for that. So our children need us to navigate all of that together. Okay, so this is another tricky one. So imagine I'm a 13-year-old. I just woke up. I obviously have a pimple on the side of my cheek here. And then I open up my social media. I'm still in bed. I did not even get out of bed. So this is 8 a.m. I've opened my social media. One of my friends is in Bali, and she's just posted a whole heap of photos. My other group of friends, they went to Ellie's birthday party, but I wasn't invited. Okay? And then the third one, what should we do? I don't know. My friend just posted that she got a new phone, for example. Okay, it's 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I'm having a very boring morning. There's nothing planned or eventful happening this weekend for me. I didn't get invited to that party. My friend in Bali, she's having a great time on her holiday. And my other friend who just posted a photo of herself with a filter has just got a new phone. But here I am living a very boring life. What's the issue here? Walk me through what's happening in my mind. Remember, I'm 13-year-old. Comparison. So at that age, it is absolutely normal. My child is not being cruel, but comparison is a really, really big thing. Remember, I'm trying to form my identity. I'm growing up. I'm around these people, and my self-worth right now comes through my friendships. So I was excluded from the party. I obviously have a pimple. My face is very average compared to my friend who has a filter, who, she has flawless skin. So I'm already on a very bad mood. So when mum and dad say good morning, I'm already very unhappy. Do not talk to me for the rest of the day. So we need to actually be mindful, and later we'll navigate, that maybe we shouldn't have phones in the bedroom, and highlighting to my child, obviously, that this is someone else's highlight. So they may have not gone on a holiday for 6 months or 1 year, right? So it's about also understanding context. But for my child, this is a very real thing. My life is boring, it's ordinary, my hair is just the usual. It's not really anything worth posting on social media compared to my friends. So it becomes very, very difficult, I find, for girls and boys. But when it comes to this particular scenario, it's very, very difficult for girls. And it has a big impact. And it's good to have conversation with our children, but they're also children. And we need to be able to support them in the right way. Okay, fear of missing out. We've always had fear of missing out, but now it follows us everywhere. Like, I never get a break. I've left school, I've come home. It's, again, I wasn't part of that particular WhatsApp group, or I don't know what's trending at the moment, Snapchat or whatever. Everyone's posting. I wasn't part of that group, so I'm feeling, the fear of missing out. And it makes me very hyper vigilant. Like, I constantly need to check, just in case something's happened, just in case, somebody's posted something or shared something, somebody's created a group that I'm not part of, or, they let me know that I've been excluded for particular reasons. And then I'm asking myself, why wasn't invited? Why didn't they reply? And quite often children will say, oh, they're online, but, they haven't responded. So I know they're online. So it's that hypervigilance. It becomes, I'm very anxious. Or why did everybody see it except me? Okay, this is a really big one, and this is quite serious. So the cyberbullying and online conflict. So at the moment, if, say, Susan and I have a conflict, it may be just between us two, and nobody would know about it. Or maybe a few people might witness, we've had a bit of a conflict. But if it's online, within 30 seconds, 500 people have seen it. It could be anonymous, and I'm bullying somebody really badly. I'm being very, very hurtful, and I'm hiding behind, anonymous. And that is a really serious problem that we have here. And it's permanent. If I've sent you a text message, you can screenshot it and share it to 500 people. And no one can stop that. It's very, very, very difficult. There's no escape. So I finished school. So previously, how we grew up, even if I was being bullied at school, I finished school. This is my break time. I'm home. It's my safe space. I can relax. I don't have to worry about this friend until tomorrow morning, for example. Right now, I've left, and they're following me on social media, and they're texting me, and, they're sharing my screenshots, they're sharing photos, whatever it is that they're doing, it is constant. I'm going to bed, I'm still checking my phone, the phone's under my pillow. I wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm hyper vigilant. Obviously, what's happened overnight, what have I missed? It does not stop. There's never really, really a break. Okay, sleep and emotional health, and Dr. Magdi actually spoke to us about this last week. It's late night use, it's mental stimulation, the melatonin is, not being released. I've got interrupted sleep. My emotional well-being is impacted. And sometimes we see this quite often. So a child who's, for example, in their adolescent years should be able to sleep about 10 hours. Most children are getting about 7, and sometimes that's interrupted because I need to check my phone in the middle of the night in case something's come, in. And sometimes we misread that my child's just tired, like they didn't have a good night's sleep, and we talk about it as grumpiness. They're moody, they're not regulating their emotions. They're disrespectful. They're not speaking properly. There's so much that comes to this, but it's really, really important that we pay attention to certain things. So I'll quickly walk you through the things that we should be building. So the important things that we need to be teaching our children or paying attention to, obviously 0 to 5, my child needs to be touched. They're obviously speaking, like language is forming. They're co-regulating with me. So if I'm regulated and they're really upset, we can sit down and co-regulate together. They need sensory play. Any device is not going to give them that. So I should be able to touch things, feel things, like the texture, not like the texture, like the smell, like the feel, all these things. And screens, unfortunately, crowd all of that. They take over all of that. The child misses out on all of this, which is why quite often 0 to 2, they recommend 0 screen time. And then I think 3 to 5, they recommend 1 hour a day maximum. 6 to 5, we're building the self-esteem, friendships, emotional regulation, developing. And sometimes, we're gaming, we're being exposed to things online. 13 to 18, this is a critical stage. So we're forming our identity, and I've spent quite a bit of time about these. Peer approval, my body image, the fear of missing out, in groups online or in real life. And this is where anxiety, sometimes creeps in. Because I'm comparing, I'm seeing things, I'm missing out on certain things. And then 18 to 25, so all those skills we've developed throughout our childhood to adulthood, then we take with us. So this is our independence, being able to form good relationships, self-management. I'm able to regulate my emotions. I'm able to have boundaries for myself, understand the digital world, understand, what is good for me and what's not. My habits that I've formed earlier will now follow me. Okay, what do we quite often hear? And I'm certain all of us have navigated this. So they need the iPad just so I can cook dinner. Or they're so angry, every time I take it away. Everyone else has Instagram, mum or dad. And quite often you hear that, or all my friends have a phone, mum, why can't I have one? Or we're constantly just bickering about having screens. Okay. Sorry, guys, I didn't actually bring a puzzle or something. But if we were to try this with a distraction of a device, it would actually take about 23 minutes to fully regain your your attention if you are needing to check devices. Another one is if, say, my husband and I are out and we put the phone in the middle, our conversations will be quite shallow. Whereas studies have shown if you put the phone completely away from your environment, you can have a much better quality conversation that is much deeper on an emotional level. So imagine how much more, so this is 2 adults, so this is a husband and wife. Imagine how much more are we missing out when we are talking and the phone is in our hand, but I'm talking to my child. And quite often you'll hear children say, Mum, look at me, or Dad, look at me, I'm talking to you. And quite often, what do we respond? I listen with my ears, not my eyes, because I'm so distracted. But the child actually needs eye contact. He needs to know he has my undivided attention, or she has my undivided attention. And when we are distracted, we can't then ask them not to be distracted by a device. So we need to model what we want to see. And this is very difficult to do, but this is the best way to do it. Okay, what can we do? So I've spoken about all the dilemmas we could possibly go through. What can we do? What strategies actually work. And you guys may have tried strategies that work. Anybody wants to share? No. Put you all to sleep. That's wonderful. Okay. Some things we can do. It depends on the child's age, obviously. But we can say the Wi-Fi has bedtime. So at a certain time every night, the Wi-Fi will switch off for everyone in the house, including myself. There's a 10-minute delay. So we don't say no. Like we don't, if we don't need to, we don't have to say no. We can practice waiting, and that builds tolerance for the child. So the child that was handed the phone or the iPad straight away have to wait about 10 minutes. That's really a big step for them. The restaurant rule, for example, or dinner time rule. Every time we're eating on the dining table, there's no devices at all. Even if it's, Mum, I'm doing my homework. Well, I'm sorry, you need to put it away. We're going to have dinner together as a family, and we're going to connect together. Phones sleep outside the bedroom. And it's really good to have like a charging station outside where even the parents put their phone away in that charging station, and the child just goes to know that this is what it is. The boredom prescription. And I sometimes do this. Like when a child says, I'm bored, I'll say, wow, your creative brain is about to do something amazing. And let's see. Sometimes you go, well, I don't care. I don't want to do that. And sometimes you will get, okay, let's give it a go, Oh, wait. And sometimes it's nice to just sit and watch what will the child do. Sometimes they'll come up with amazing things. And sometimes they'll fight. You never know which way it goes. It just depends. But the more that we practice this, the more my child learns I'm not easily going to give in, and it's going to be a planned exercise that we're going to do together. For example, we're going to do something on the iPad. We're going to navigate, something together as a family, or you're going to have some time to play your game, and that's fine, but it's not going to be a replacement for building skills, basically. And then the show me rule, and I've touched on this a bit, where, like, come and show me what game are you playing. Let's play it together. Let's get involved as a family together. And these are just some simple tips you can say to your child if, instead of get off the phone, it's about let's reset. It makes it like it's about us. It's not just that you're doing something wrong. And we have to remember here that these algorithms and the way apps are designed, they're very intelligent in grabbing our attention. They're actually designed to do exactly that. And sometimes if a child can, comprehend what I'm saying, I can say, look, I'm protecting your sleep and well-being, even though you might not like it. There's certain things I have to do as a parent that I don't like myself, but we have to do it. It's good for us. Or I noticed it's becoming hard to stop. Let's work together to make it, a little bit less difficult. When should a parent be concerned? When should we be worried about our kids?
All the time.
It doesn't have to be all the time, but if my child's really, really distressed, when they're stopping, sleep is disrupted, they don't want to see their friends, play with their friends in real life, they don't want to engage at school. And look, not all of it is obviously irrelevant. I know some of us have very young children, so thankfully probably we don't have that problem. Some might. There's secrecy about what's happening online. Mood directly linked to an online activity. Technology becoming the primary coping strategy. And this is a little bit difficult because my child then has to catch up. Loss of interest in previously enjoyed activities. And these are big things that we can pay attention to and hopefully not get to that point. It's not always about how many hours or how many minutes. If it's impacting any of those components that we've discussed, it's really, really important to seek help. Now, I have a bit of a challenge, and I'd love for all of us to take it on board. Some of it are quite easy strategies we can probably implement straight away, and I've discussed some of them, like, nothing in the bedroom. It's difficult for us parents who maybe have TVs in the bedroom, so that's no devices, and we have a charging station, say, in the kitchen somewhere or, in the dining table where we charge all our devices there. And that protects our sleep, it protects them as well. Meals are phone free, and this is a really good time to just connect with our children. And quite often in the car, like they don't really want to talk about what's happened at school. Most of the time, you get like, "Oh, how was your day? Yeah, good," and that's it. Like it's not really a conversation. They're tired after school. Sometimes at dinner time or even at bedtime, they might come up with, what's happened at school, what's made them upset, what's made them really happy. So it's really good that we have those moments of connection with them. And we can pick a time, like for example, it's bedtime. We can read a story together, depending on how old my child is, or we can have a dedicated family time that is just free from any technology. Now, boredom, I've spoken about boredom. Boredom is one that really is so powerful. Our brain can do so much when we are feeling bored, and we don't have that structured activity blocked in, where it's just, I let my brain loose, where it can do, anything it desires, create a game, create things. And our kids can be quite intelligent. And it's nice to have that conversation with them to say, you are capable of a lot. God's created you in such an intricate way that you can create so much. You don't need to waste it on a device. And record what you notice, and I would love to hear back on what do we think. Okay. This is probably the second last slide. And these are some questions I had, ask what is screen replacing, model the behavior you want, regulate first and discuss. So this is very difficult. And, sometimes we do fall into that trap where I want to fix it right now and I want to explain to the child right now. But if they're very, very upset and they're not really regulated, now is another time to have a conversation. It's really difficult. Like imagine you're so angry or upset about something and somebody's trying to, speak to you and have a full conversation. It takes about 20 minutes for me to calm down. So imagine a young child. I'm trying to reason, say with a really young child. It's not really the right time to be having a conversation. It's about regulating now, and we can discuss the matter later. Protect sleep, boredom, and face-to-face time. Okay, guys, the last thing I'm going to leave you with, it's not a waiting room. Our children's childhood is not a waiting room for the digital world. Our job is to make ensure technology doesn't remove their childhood from them. Because the biggest problem is if they're exposed to things that we didn't want them to be exposed to, we can't unlearn it. Once our brain knows something, you can't unlearn it. It's very, very difficult. And you would rather be proactive than catch it a little bit later. That's all from me, guys. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions? No? I think everybody's sound asleep, which is great. No questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Well, on behalf of everyone, I just would like to give a really warm thank you to Carol. And actually, it was a really very well said and very well detailed tech about psychology. Last week it was Dr. Magdi. It was really good. It was all related to what will technology do to our bodies, and now it's all psychology. And really looking forward to see what's next. Actually, not next week. Next week will be the 21st. So happy Feast of St. Mary. So I believe it will be no family meetings next Friday. It will be just in the churches. I think we will have the Feast of St. Mary, and we will be celebrating the Feast of St. Mary. And that's it. I really would like to thank everyone who had really worked very, very hard to make it really successful. And let's stand up for prayers. Thank you. Our Father.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.